Hello, everyone. I hope you are well. Thank you for joining me for this Wednesday's prayer gathering. I've been a little busy editing and preparing for the update to the HP Shalom archive, sort of placing in the teachings for the last 3 months in a final form and updating the table of contents. So it's going to take a little while, but I'm hoping to get it done soon. So you might notice I'm posting teachings on the live section in the finalized version in the video section. And if I find a teaching to be really important, I'll provide a notification, which I just provided for one in December for mantras. So if someone is new to mantra work, I highly recommend that 4-hour long teaching. If you have it in you to listen to it, you could always break it down into parts. So it's nice to be with you all today. And let me have a moment to sort of center myself. And we'll be doing some mantra work today. I have my new prayer beads, which I'm sort of excited to start using again. And yeah, let's take a moment and sort of settle in. When we take that pause, we allow things to settle. To slow down on the speed of what we were doing before. Any frustrations we may have had in trying to achieve things. For me, there was something I wanted to share. And by being focused in publishing music for you all and teachings, it sort of had been lost in everything else I was doing. And I started thinking about the shalom. As I was calming down, I was connecting to that inner shalom, letting go of any anxiety of, oh my God, they're waiting for me, and they've already been waiting a little bit for me. That's an energy, it's a tension. It keeps one from settling. By releasing it and releasing anything else that we might be feeling and being okay to let it go and let it be what it is, what it may be, what it might be, any repercussions or desire for it to be otherwise. We go deeper within ourselves. That energy that's on the surface, beneath the surface, level 5 on our basement, or 15 beneath the ground, or 30, starts dropping away. And we tap into a place of shalom, openness and space and peace, where things can bubble up. There's room to see what might arise. Yes? So, using my example, I thought there's something I wanted to share that came to me this morning. Now, if I had started going through my mind, what can it be, what it is, boom, 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 that's one way to go about it. But given everything I've been focusing on, the content of previous teachings, I know my mind's pretty saturated. That wasn't going to give the result. So there was a release of trust that if it was meant to arise, it would arise, and if not, not. And maybe it'll come back, or maybe not. And being okay with that, and in trust in that, with that unfolding, and given it's a religious teaching, having trust that Adonai is somehow involved, that if it didn't show up, there's a reason, and if it didn't, it didn't. Maybe there's a reason, maybe there's not, but I trust that it just wasn't meant to be. Yes? And in that space, it came. Poof. But had I cluttered my mind with desire or pushing or trying to poke at it as to what it could be, I don't think so. There's a space of alignment, of wisdom, and a sort of unconditional trust, which you begin to develop with time. And as you purify and clear and align, the space becomes inherently more trustworthy. So if you're not aligned, you're not a little purified, and things are everywhere, that space might not be so trustworthy because there's a lot going on in that space. But as the space begins to open and distill, become more of its essence, our true essence, there's a certain trust that develops. So my thought from this morning was, when we do our practice, and especially mantra work, or even prayer, or even reading, anything, but also in the shalom, when we touch, reach out, try to understand what shalom means, or what to be in the shalom of God, or what the shalom of God might even be, right? So we could intellectualize it by thinking about it. We could read about it, increase our knowledge. We could listen about it. But what we're trying to develop is the experience of what that is. Mantra allows us to experience the energy of what that is. It's beyond understanding, and you can't describe it. You could say what it is, or what it's not, or what it's like. But it's like describing, strawberry or chocolate or vanilla to somebody who's never tasted it. You could say it's not chocolate. Well, if the person hasn't tasted chocolate, it really doesn't mean anything. Or you try to get it close, but not really. Vanilla's a little bit like pasta, but sweeter. But it has a little more, or not. It doesn't get there. So we touch in to the energy through our practice, through our stillness, through learning how to let go of all the basements of energy that we have that's beneath the surface with time. And what is it exactly? It's repair, reconnection, wholeness, repairing our connection with God, repairing our connection with the Shekhinah, repairing into our wholeness. So it's becoming whole again, to reclaim those lost parts, to clear the static. When we do a mantra practice or a prayer practice, we are drawing closer to God. We're reaching out. We're saying the holy names that are blessed. And as we release in those vibrations and we let go into them like a river, the vibration saying the word, and we'll just let go into it like going into a stream and allowing, taking our feet off the bottom and allowing the stream, the current of the stream, to take us downstream. With experience, we learn that it's safe and trustworthy and there's not going to be a waterfall and the current isn't too deep, too fast. So we learn, we test, and then off we go. But that current, the mantras, is a repair of our alignment and our connection with God. Reestablishing the current, clearing those phone lines of connection. Yes? The practice is the repairing. The practice is the reaching out. The practice allows the clearing of what might have been done in the past, the energetic lingering of what might happen in the past, of any blocks, allows us to move through remorse into the future. It allows us to atone. It's a ceremony of sorts. It's an offering of our time, an offering of our practice, of offering of the skills that we've taken time to develop, to go deeper and deeper in it. And it's an offering to what? Several things. Well, since this is more deistic, to God, right? Let's put that number one. But number two, very importantly as well, to ourselves, to our health, to any healing, to becoming the best versions of who and what we can be. So what we're participating, and let me just say number three, makes us the best person we can be in alignment with God for each other, for the world. So there's the aspect of God, ourselves, and our world, other humans, animals. So there's that repair and wholeness for all that is, the transcendent, impossible to fully know, Adonai, ourselves, and everything else in creation. We enter into Shalom. We reconnect. We repair through our practice. It's the ceremony to reestablish those links with God, with our true selves, and with each other and our planet. It's a restoration. Yes? So, let's practice together, shall we? It is the Wednesday prayer gathering, and I always intend it to be mainly about practice, and often a lot more comes up. But it's good, whatever happens, but it's also good that we focus on practice today. And yeah, wonderful. So if you get out your prayer beads and a nice spot, I might adjust a little bit. And then we'll begin in a couple minutes. Okay. Thought somehow the signal had dropped, and I was relieved that it did not. So I'm going to make sure I hear the sound of my voice on the live feed, and then we will continue. Ah, shalom. I hear the sound of my voice. That's a good sign. So, Let's take a moment here. So close your eyes. Move the screen here so we can see. And just relax. Few deep breaths. Feeling to work with the Shalom, obviously. So you could be doing in this inside or outside. Today I'm doing this outside. Beautiful breeze. Beautiful weather here in California. Even by our standards. Just a beautiful March. One could find a lot of shalom in nature. I hear a little stream. There are ducks with little ducklets. First time I've seen that in person in my life. Amazing. The mother duck is so protective. And beautiful little ducks swimming in the shalom. And a little stream going by. We can learn a lot from nature. Or being in one's backyard, or one's patio, and feeling the peace. And one can contemplate, why doesn't that peace live within? It can be crazy without, but with time, one can develop the peace within. And take that peace into the storm. I once told someone who was new to meditation, and I was sort of guiding him. And he said, the peace, it has to be quiet and blah, blah. And I said, yes, when you start, it is. But, after, once you get used to it, I lived in New York City at the time. I said, you can go into Times Square on a corner of a street with 1 million people and the cars blaring and still have the stillness and be able to meditate at the same depth than you would in the still room, quiet room. And how is that? Because once we learn to cultivate the shalom within, it's not necessarily disturbed from anything outside. The eye of the hurricane, it's possible to rest there. The stillness of God is accessible. So in your space, rest, breathe, relax, and release anything that's not of the space you're in, if you're in a quiet space. Become the space. That's how we train. We could find an energy in our environment, in nature, in our room, and we can copy it. It's like, how do you tell somebody's what the color blue is? Well, you take out the color blue and you say, that's the color blue, right? And this is light blue and this is dark blue. right? This is a greenish blue. So, how do we teach our body what the shalom might be like? We go to places that are like what we think the shalom might be. Sacred places. Or we read texts or listen to sacred music and we feel that deep peace. And you're like, oh, this is shalom like. And so we touch in our understanding, but we think it's outside of ourselves, the sound or the feeling comes from outside, and it may, but we only feel it if it's inside of us. Nothing outside we could feel unless it's actually something from within us that we actually feel what's within us. Does that make sense? So nothing outside can be within. We could take in unless there is those elements within. So we're cultivating those elements within us. We're bringing them together and learning to have those sensations and feelings and spaciousness stay. We visit it when we practice, or we go somewhere, or we do something. But we learn to be able to summon it, to go there at will. And then eventually we learn to live there. And once you really learn to live there, you're advanced, intermediate, and advanced. So it's not something that takes a while. A master learns how to live there. Somebody fully realized, enlightened. You walk into a room of such a person, you feel peace, you feel holiness, because that's what they emanate. I'm saying the word shalom to myself slowly many times. So I'm not sure what words to use with it today for our practice. Shalom, well, maybe just shalom. It's complete. If we take it in the sense with a capital S and not a lowercase s. Because with a capital S means the shalom of God. So it would be a name in that sense. Because it's so interconnected with the Shekhinah, with our inner cathedral when it's in that context. Shekhinah Shalom. But where does it come from? I thought of saying Yahwéh Shalom, the name of God. But that could be a lot for some people. Is it too much? Is it not? Or Adonai Shalom. Abba Shalom. That's something. Emmanuel Shalom. Yahweh Shalom. El Shaddai Shalom. Oh, that's powerful. Everything with El Shaddai is extra oomph. Elohim Shalom. There are differences. How about Abba Shalom? See, we don't need to fill the space. We could have comfort in the open space where there's 10, 15, 30 seconds between a word, a thought, allowing a pregnant space to manifest something. And look what it did. By me permitting to have a space to contemplate, I pointed out things which could help some people who are listening to have a deeper understanding. There's a trust in the space. Shalom is not empty space. It's pregnant. This world is pregnant with creation that is occurring all the time. When God said, "Let there be light," there was light, but it was pregnant with everything else. The first shimmer from the Aleph and manifestations, the first vibration, is pregnant with everything else. The Aleph is pregnant with everything. Whatever the Aleph represents, which is everything. But everything's a concept. But yet there's a pregnancy, but not a pregnancy. Everything's there, but there's no there or anything. But yet, everything comes from it. And so the shalom is not nothing. We're not holding back the gates and the water to have a space of nothing. It's having the space where things can arise and be seen, where we could release heavy emotions and act and say from a place of shalom, as opposed to a reaction or anger or speaking too soon. Abba Shalom is extremely spacious. Abba, I think the whole universe. Less detailed. Very spacious. And Elohim Shalom. Elohim I see as a grandfather God, an elder God, an older man on a throne. It has an ancient aspect to it, does it not? Elohim Shalom. Endless aspect of Shalom that you can't quantify with time an eternal shalom. It gives you a characteristic of it. Yahwéh shalom. That's literally the shalom of God. As we sort of consider God to be, it's the name of God in the Tanakh, the Jewish Bible, or also known as the Old Testament, but there's a little difference in the books. So there's different aspects of shalom, and as we investigate, we begin to broaden our knowledge. And how do we investigate? By practice, by how we feel. How do I sense the difference between Abba and Elohim, Yahweh, Yahweh? I've practiced them. And my sense is my sense. But I think there's also a certain universal sense. And just saying the word shalom and sitting in the pregnancy of what that word is, without judgment or putting on it what we think it is, just saying the word and seeing what we feel without thinking about or analyzing what we're feeling. Like a TV we're watching. Like a fly lands on us, we're not reacting, but we're feeling it kind of tickle. And we're receptive to what that feels like. So, and that's how we develop an understanding of the sacred words, and also are able to bring in that energy and fill up our tank with it in a way, to come to an understanding of what the flavor of shalom is, the feeling of shalom, what it does to us. So when we need to call upon it in our lives, we can say the name, and with our practice, the name, and with our practice, it immediately rises up because it's there. It's like having the phone number. The phone number is actually the name. And by practicing it, the line opens and there it is because we're in relationship with it. It's like calling up somebody you're dating, right? So you don't know them, you barely know them, right? You start the dating, you call, you don't get a sense of their energy. But after a couple months, you think of them, you immediately feel their energy. You call them, you're flooded with their energy because that relationship's been developed. It's the same with the names. Once we're in a relationship, we could just think of that feeling and it floods our body. So think of someone you love dearly. Didn't the feeling of what they feel like to you and the love, don't you feel their presence? Yes? It's the same with the name. And so as we develop in the name, it becomes available and we learn to live in the name. That energy becomes a core energy within us, and things that are not of that, we no longer live from those things. And as they're holy, and as they help stimulate the best part of ourselves, then we increase in vibration and we become the best selves possible. And we could release the past. We let go of our regrets. Holding on holds us back. And we're new and different people. And we've learned and moved forward. And then we forget the past. Because now we're looking forward, and it's the bondage of that isn't there in the same way. We don't repeat the past, we learn the lessons. But as we grow and evolve, we're not where we were where those things occurred. And we become freed. We're restored. We've drawn closer to God and we've found our restoration through our engagement, our approaching closer to the truth of what He is, our connection, what life is, and to our truer selves. So, why don't we just say the word shalom together? Nice, slow, open. And then you do it at your pace. And you could actually have a break between the words between a couple seconds, even a minute or two. Remain present and open that space and allow to just rest there. Rest your mind and your thoughts in the shalom of God. Remember, it's not the lowercase word. So our intent with saying the word shalom with a capital S, we're resting our mind in the peace of God, in the presence, in the emanation of peace, wisdom, guidance, compassion. But it's open and spacious as well. In that presence, we could find that peace within us and realize that it could be full of love, devotion, care, empathy. Or it's just spacious, or it's pregnant and full of something. So when we say the name, we're open to seeing what arises. And if it's a thought or something, we release it. If it's something traumatic, we exhale, just open it to leave. We say the next name, shalom, and then shalom, and then shalom. And then maybe have a break where you rest in the energy you've cultivated. So in a way, it's a mantra, but also the spaciousness is more of a traditional openness meditation. Or you could say shalom repeatedly. It's really open to you. I would recommend you say it and then slowly, peacefully, then take a pause for a little bit until you feel to say it again. And then take that energy into the rest of your day to the extent you can. Don't quickly get up and get caught up. Or if you are, try to maintain, or you have to because you have to go to work or something, but try to keep in touch with that. And throughout the day or in the evening, you feel it's moved a little bit, say the word shalom and try to reconnect to that space you've created. It's a way of deepening your practice. And this can be done with any of the names, with any experience that's religious or spiritual that you wish to reconnect with. Tapping into the reservoir of memories in a good way to bring it forth into the present so that nourishment and blessing can be here now. All right, let's do it. Shalom, shalom, shalom. 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 through touching in to the Shalom, we can feel the presence of God. May we grow to feel the presence of God more and more each day, and to live with Him in our lives. Amen. Thank you so much for joining with me today. If you wish to continue in the practice, feel free. And I look forward to being with you all on Sunday. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.